I will say, if we recorded this podcast a month ago, I would have had top of mind just so much to say about Saros. Now I'm like, man, what? Like, I enjoyed the game, but man, what do I have to say about it? So I will say, Saros is, if you haven't, we did do a very brief sort of like introduction to it in one of our earlier episodes. I think we'd only played like an hour or two.
Yeah, I think you had just done the tutorial, really.
Yeah, so that was super early days of trying to figure out how does a run work, or what is the flow of this game. Having finished it now, I think I could be wrong, but I think my playtime was in the 20-hour range. I really enjoyed this game. I will say, and not at all knock against Saros, I think Returnal maybe left more of an impression on me. And it's difficult to pinpoint why. I don't know if it was because Returnal was just like very difficult to the point where I was like very stubborn, like I'm going to finish this game. I'm going to keep playing it. And Celine's story maybe just left a big impression on me. That said, Saros feels definitely way more beginner's the wrong word, like accessible is probably the right term, where it's still very difficult, don't get me wrong. But I feel like there are enough tools in this game to kind of tailor it to how difficult or how easy you want it to be. Because you get to a point where, and I don't think it's too far in the game, and I can't remember contextually why it happens, but you can flip on or off modifiers. So, for example, it's like you can put on a modifier that you get more Lucenite, which is the currency that drops in the game, or you can get less if you want to like up the difficulty, whatever.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So yeah, I think the game loop itself was initially very confusing because they throw these terms at you, and it's like, so it works like this. Okay, so in Saros, you do a run, you shoot enemies drop Lucenite, which is a currency you collect, and you keep your Lucenite and you use it to go back and like unlock permanent upgrades,
Okay.
And even those permanent upgrades, it's more like passive abilities, like you've got a bit more health now the next time you start a run or whatever. But that Lucenite also keeps filling up a bar that counts as like levels. So if you're starting the game from scratch, 0, you like level 0, or 1, whatever it is, you're running through the game, you're killing enemies, they're dropping Lucenites, and you get like a little meter on the left that fills up like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And that meter determines the level of weapons that you'll find in your run. Okay. So that's kind of how the difficulty's balanced, I guess, where as you leveling up, it's not the typical roguelike of like, I've leveled up, I'm now going to choose like the ability to run fast or do more damage, whatever. It's kind of like, no, the only thing that's leveling up is your Lucenites on that specific run. You're unlocking that. But what happens is, and that number determines the sort of weapons you're finding. So if you've collected enough Lucenites to be level 10, enemies or chests are going to drop like level 10 or like level 10 max weapons, like level 9, level 10. And it kind of forces you to keep changing weapons, because the higher level the weapons are, they do different things. Like they'll do, it's not like explicitly stated, oh, it's a level 10 weapon, it's doing like level 10 damage. But the higher the level of the weapon, the more sort of like passives or things it'll have built into the weapon. Okay. So if you have an assault rifle, for example, one of the passives that comes with it might be like if it shoots like 3 little bullets, it might have a 4th extra bullet to do a little bit more damage, things like that. But then in your runs as well, you will get these kind of little modifiers you can pick up, which I touched on the last time we spoke, where it's like, often there'll be a very simple thing of here's the thing, it lets you collect more Lucenite, so you level up faster. But sometimes you get like these corrupted mods where it'll be like, okay, you get more Lucenite, but you also take 4 damage. Or you do more damage, but enemies do more damage to you. So it becomes this very interesting thing of, it's not your typical roguelike of like, I'm going to do a build around whatever. It's more about you trying to weigh up your risk versus reward of like how many modifiers you want to take on, how many sort of bad things you want to take on. Even before the run starts, do you want to have like negative things on, positive things on? So yeah, it's kind of different that way. But the gameplay itself is very fun. Like Returnal's very satisfying. Once you've got your head wrapped around the flow of combat, the dodging, and even like, so I keep mentioning the last time we spoke about it. There's a lot of like little nuances that also set Saros apart, where you have a shield in this game that you can activate at any time, and you can use it to absorb blue projectiles. But what's quite unique is that you kind of need to absorb blue projectiles to power up your like secondary strong weapon. You know, it's that classic thing of and I wish more studios did it, because House Marquee use that dual sense so well. It's like a half press does something and then a full press does something.
It's like alternate fire and a full press or something like that.
So it's like if you collect enough blue orbs to power up your special weapon, you can like shoot a rocket. Well, it's got like a name, but it's kind of like shooting a rocket launcher that once off whatever. There's lots of little nuances to the game that give it that house mark flavor. Is it house marky?
I think it's house mark, but
so it's very like house mark coded, and it's an interesting and fun game to play. I just feel that Returnal left maybe more of an impression to me, and not for any reason other than like if I sit and think about it, maybe it's because Returnal was more challenging. I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed playing Saros and seeing old Roll Coley lead this game and then figure out the story, because the premise of Saros, if you don't know, is you kind of just arrive on this planet and you are part of like an expedition that's followed a whole lot of expeditions that have come before, and like what happens to these people, where are they, and each run you're picking up audio logs or meeting people, and when you kind of figure out what happened on this planet, it's like fascinating story, very interesting, worth playing and figuring out. So very satisfying from that point of view as well.
I was curious. I was curious to know about that, because I know there was a greater emphasis on like storytelling this time around, because Returnals I think was very vague and sparse, and I thought it was interesting because I really wanted to know what happened to Celine and why it was all like weird and fucked up on the planet she was on. But this one seems to have like actual character interactions and voice acting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there is like the story is, I've thought, very, very interesting of what happens to these people, like what did they become, whatever. And it's got a lot of it covers like some pretty dark subject matter as well, but it was like fascinating to play through, so I really enjoyed it from that point of view.
Okay. Yeah, I'm keen to still give this a go.
Yeah, I think you must definitely give it some time, see if it clicks with you or not. Like I'm so glad I played it. I enjoyed it.
I really loved Returnal, so I was always planning to play this, and maybe because of the phase of life I'm in, having these modifiers that maybe can alleviate some of the sticking points would actually help me, because as much as I really enjoyed Returnal, I did go through periods I was just banging my head against like, I cannot get past World 3 or can't get past World 4, or oh my god, I made it to the final boss and he just smoked me on the first hit and now I need to work my way back up there.
Yeah, with Saros as well, it's been made easier from the simple point of view that the moment you kind of reach the next level, you can just start there as well. You just straight up start from that level.
Yeah, so, I think, I know there was some discussion when it came out about whether or not it had sanded off too many edges, and I don't know. I haven't played it enough to know that. But I do think having that option available to me it makes it more likely that I will probably finish it rather than I don't have the time to like do this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can understand why that might not leave as big of an impression on you as Returnal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's also something to be said of, I've finished the game, but I kind of don't really feel the need to go do more runs.
Yeah.
Whereas Returnal, I don't know if it is a thing of, I still remember finishing it and going like, oh my god, I did a bit. I kind of still wanted to do more runs just to see like how had I gotten better at the game, or there more things to unlock. Yeah, it's like, it's fun to play, do the runs, but I've kind of just felt less inclined to go back and do them. And whether that's, again, because of difficulty or because I've wrapped up the story, there's nothing really more to see, I don't know. But it's a great game though. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it and would recommend it.
It looks like it's got that Returnal speed to it. Like characters move in that game. There's no like
Yeah.
messing around there. There's no sprint. Everything is a sprint, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's also got that, like, it's weird. The world feels so like alien and hostile, and it reminded me of Returnal. That point of view, it's just like there's like a very specific kind of DNA that the studio has to them, where it just feels like the worlds they create are very strange, to like explore, but in a good way. It's like, oh, like, yeah, makes me a bit uncomfortable, but I'm enjoying like just walking my way through and just shooting everything.
So what do you think they do now? Because Returnal was obviously a big departure from, to a degree, a big departure from what they did with like arcade shooters and twin stick shooters. They basically took that formula and made it 3D with a third person action game, and now kind of did a very similar thing with Saros. Do you think there's enough juice there to do a third one of these, or
I think
what do you think they should do from here?
I almost feel like they should do a smaller project, maybe kind of like what they used to do. Purely just because keep money flowing, whatever, if they need to, but have a smaller studio spin up a game, kind of like the older stuff, the arcade shooters, whatever, and maybe
like a Resogun 2 or a Next Machina 2 or something.
100%, something, because they're also very good at those. As for the next game, like, I don't know, it'll be very interesting to see if they keep with the third person like action kind of like roguelike thing, or maybe they pivot and they do just a straight up A to B cinematic shoot. Like, I don't know, it'd be very interesting to see what the studio does, but I kind of feel that it would also work in their favor to just have a smaller something like to work alongside.
I think that would be cool. I think I'm just curious because like I think Returnal hit far more than Saros has. I don't think Saros is like a bad game at all, but I think just from the way people have been talking, it almost feels like Saros has been forgotten already from this year, whereas Returnal was spoken about, I think, a lot more because it was this thing like, oh my god, Housemarque made this game.
Yeah, it was also more novel to the PS5.
Yeah, it's novel. It was mind-blowing at the time. I think Saros says, I mean, I don't know sales-wise, I think it's probably done okay. I also don't know how much it costs to make, but I don't imagine there would be much appetite for a third round of this in like 4 years' time.
No.
Unless something is like fundamentally different or something is fundamentally changed to make it stand out again. So I'm just curious what Housemarque does, because these are Returnal and Saros are their biggest games. They're now owned by Sony. Is the expectation to make these big blockbuster $70 games, or can they go back to a $20-$30 Super Stardust or Resogun or something like that? I'd be curious to know. I think a small game is probably a good idea, while they maybe figure that out.
Yeah, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a Returnal 2 or Saros 2 or new game name 3 in the same sort of style. But I think they might have to explore doing something different.
Yeah.
To stand
because
out.
I mean, Saros is not Returnal 2, but it kind of just isn't in name. It kind of is the same game.
100%. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I think Housemarque is really cool and unique, but I do think they need to maybe really evolve in this formula. I think Saros is the last time and only the second time they tried to get away with this sort of formula. But I don't think in a 2029 or 2030 they come out with Saros 2. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I don't think they should do that.